this time, I'd like for Andy Smith to come forward. I'm going to talk about him a little bit, and Jamie, if you'd come on up too. We're going to let you bodyguard your boss while he speaks up here. Andy and I guess, known one another about a year and a half. Andy was reared, and if you don't know what reared means, that means he was raised up in Tennessee. He's been on the FBI SWAT. He's been an operator within numerous type operations with the FBI. He's worked in Atlanta, Jacksonville, Hawaii,
DC,
Washington, D.C., and I think that's his fondest place. But, you know, Andy's got a real long title. What I've come to call him is our FBI guy, or our FBI man. For the Middle District of Georgia, he is the FBI man. We've built a relationship, and I'm going to let him tell you about an operation that we worked on some 18 months. I'm going to talk about Jamie, and I'm going to talk about him again after he gets through speaking. The reason we've changed this, they've got a pretty major events going on, and it's kind of breaking, and things are happening right now, and they're going to need to leave here and go check out some things related to kidnapping and some pretty violent acts by people. But Andy, other than that, I appreciate you being here, and we want you to just tell us what you need to tell us. Thank you again for being here. Y'all are welcome, Andy.
Thanks, everybody. I'm going to be a little scattered because, like the chief said, we've had some stuff. You know, I hung up as I was pulling in the driveway, and our guys are out running around doing stuff right now, wondering where Jamie and I are at. So, like the chief said, my name's Andy Smith. I'm the supervisory senior resident agent in the Middle District of Georgia. I have the Athens office and the Macon office of the FBI. Sounds like a big deal. We have 4 agents in Athens and 7 in Macon, and we cover 32 counties, so that's not a lot of folks. We also cover all 324 violations that the Department of Justice covers. So we cover a little bit of everything. I think everybody probably knows or hopes that we have a close relationship with the DEA, and my counterpart with the DEA says, you know, going to the FBI is like going to the buffet. You guys do just about everything. He's like, I serve chicken, and I do chicken really good. He said, I never know what you guys are going to be in the middle of when we get there. Before we get started here, let me talk about the elephant in the room. Everybody's probably seen a lot of stuff about the FBI on the news, and about the last year and a half. You know, we get it from both sides of the aisle here recently. I want to ask everybody a favor. As you're watching the news and you're reading all the stuff that's going on, and please keep in mind that when you're reading this stuff and you think, now why in the world would the FBI do that? If you think that when you read something, we probably didn't. And I think everybody's, that's just, and it's not one side of the fence or the other. I think we've been getting it from both sides depending on whoever's mad at the time. So please keep that in mind as you're reading events. I think everybody in this room has probably encountered a situation where if you don't have a defense, you blame the police, and that seems to be pretty common in the last few years. Like I said, we do cover 32 counties. We primarily, our offices are in Athens and in Macon. We do spend a lot of time in all our other counties and cities around our area, and things pop up in those areas, and it's our job to come out and support whatever state and local agency it is that's encountering whatever issue they're having. And Jamie gets tired of hearing it, and I'm sure the chief has heard me say it. Here in the Middle District of Georgia anyway, our number one priority is to support state and local law enforcement. And our agents are graded on how they support state and local law enforcement and the type of community impact they create. That's something that we as a group decided was the most important thing to us here and the best way for us to help our community here. So that's the number one thing we focus on, which kind of is why I'm here and was asked here by the chiefs, because one of the can I walk around a little bit? Can y'all still hear me if I walk around? I'll talk loud. When we get a call, I like to call them tent meetings. Because the populations of our areas, we have to work in Athens all the time, and we have to work in Macon all the time. But we have things that pop up in some of our outer lying communities, and we have to go set up the tent and arrest a whole bunch of people or whatever we need to do to create that community impact that's needed in that area. And then we have to take the tent down and we have to go to another community. And this happened here, and the chief came to Jamie and our team, and I think it was July in 2016.
Long time ago.
I think it started out, I think the first number I remember hearing was in just a few months, 3 months, we had 13 or 16 shootings, one of the two. Which is obviously an indicator of something that these guys are concerned about, and they need some resources, and that's what we do. So as the chief talks about what we've done over the last couple of years, remember, I have 3-4 guys in Athens. We didn't come in here and do a whole bunch of stuff by ourselves. So it was not the FBI came in here and did that, and that's something that we've preached to everybody that we've talked to about this. So Jamie had a relationship before becoming an FBI agent, Jamie was with the Gwinnett County PD, and through his relationship with Captain Treadwell, Tracy, Aaron and Brandon, they started the process of what we call the enterprise theory of investigation. We're looking for a certain group of people. We've got a certain type of activity that's going on. So they go out and start conducting operations targeting that activity. A lot of work was done. I can't stand up here and tell you how much work Jamie, Aaron, and Brandon did on these cases. It was every night. It was middle of the night. It was constant buying drugs from bad guys, buying guns from bad guys. During this whole thing, I mean, we took 40 guns off the street. I bought a lot of drugs. I don't know, a lot.
Spent a lot of money.
I spent a lot of money. I think the chief was talking to someone about it in front of the group, and he said, "We spent a lot of money. How much did we spend?" And I was like, "I don't want to talk about it. It was a lot." So that over time, you have to building a federal case is there's some more extra parts that are involved, and there's additional requirements for evidence. There's additional things that we had to do together, and that Aaron and Brandon at times, I'm sure, wanted to kill Jamie because of it wasn't easier the way we wanted them to do it. So there was usually a lot more pain involved. Over the year and a half, while these guys were out just about every night, buying drugs, buying guns, focusing in on the targets, individuals, and the groups that they were a part of, they ended up indicting federally 35 individuals. That's a big deal. That's one of the biggest indictments at one time that we've done in the Middle District of Georgia. And for 3 people to mastermind that, and it's quite an accomplishment. We had so many people that we had to break it up into multiple takedowns. And the chief was just talking about it. Part of the thing that we do is, you know, we had, when the culmination of work happens, and we still have a whole bunch pending, so I'm not going to get into too many details. So if I'm being vague, it's because we still have some pending cases going. You know, when we decide, okay, we have these violent offenders on the street, how are we going to arrest these people and do it as safely as we possibly can? There were a lot of long hours put in to ensure the safety of the officers going out to conduct these arrests. We brought in SWAT teams from 3 different divisions. We brought SWAT teams from different divisions on both ends. These guys set us up at a location here to where we brought in all these different departments, 7 different agencies, not just different offices with us. And it was, I can't tell you how many comments we got from federal government people saying, we've never seen a more professional operation being taken down the way you guys did this. And it was the work that these 3 put in to organize it, to have everything set up. You know, whether it was Brandon out at 11 o'clock at night or midnight, the night before the operation, setting up lights so that everyone could see the next morning. You really have no idea how much went into this. And it wasn't just police work. It was hosting, preparing, getting everyone ready. Seeing the operation go down on game day, both of them, it makes you proud of your group and proud of the work that's been done. And it really, like we said, it was something that you see on TV, and it was the most professional, safe operation that we do. We got every one of our targets, which doesn't happen a lot, and not a single officer was hurt executing all these warrants, and that's a testament to their work. Like I said, 40 guns off the street is right now is a big deal, especially when we've got so many shootings that are happening. And that part of that, you know, and Chief said, I'm here to talk about the case. Well, that's not really it. This is more of an opportunity for Jamie and I to come here and thank the Monroe Police Department for all the work that they put in, because Jamie's one guy. He didn't do this by himself. He didn't do it alone. To thank the police department for the partnership, for the fellowship, for the extraordinary effort that they put into this work over the last year and a half. And the results. I mean, these types of things and these types of long-term complex investigations are what creates community impact. And that's our job, is to create positive community impact in the communities that we live in. That's why we're here. And to all of you people who are going to be getting awards, I want to say congratulations to everyone. I've seen firsthand how outstanding the Monroe Police Department is, how hard you work. We were talking about the thing that we've got going on, and especially nowadays, no one appreciates what you do. Like the chief said, we're working a kidnapping. We had a 4-year-old girl that was gone, and last night in Alabama, chief of police in a department of 2 pulled up on a vehicle that he just thought was suspicious. He didn't have to. He was by himself. He didn't know there was a missing kid. He didn't know anybody was in that car. He pulled off on them. He could have just as easily been hiding out for the rest of the shift. But he didn't. He did his job, and he did it the right way. And he recovered that girl last night and recovered her alive. That's why we do what we do. So, that being said, not a single person is going to jail while we're all sitting in here. So enjoy your dinner tonight. Enjoy the fellowship. And let's get back out on the street and keep our community safe. Thank you.
Before I start, you got anything you want to say, Jamie? Or?
Briefly, thank you to everybody in the department. Obviously, Andy kind of laid out the investigation that we have over the last year and a half, and it's safe to say that every single officer in this room contributed to that case throughout the duration, and we really appreciate it on our end. Like Andy said, we've got a couple people in our office, and it wasn't an FBI case. It was a Monroe Police Department case that we just came in and provided some funding for, essentially. So you guys all did a ton of hard work, and we really appreciate it, and we love the relationship that we have with your department, and we know it'll continue for many years to come. So thank you.
Now Jamie's going to play a tenor on piano.
He's multi-talented. We have a couple of 3 presentations for the FBI. Got one for the fit team. I want to get kind of a group picture with that crowd before y'all take off. And did you tell me the guy's in custody?
Yes.
Okay. So somebody is on ice.
Somebody is in custody.
They're on ice until they get there. But this is to you, Andy, and it's simple. And when you start talking about synchronization and how things come together, outside of some military operations that were pretty large that I've gotten to be a small part of, that was, it come together just so nicely, and so many different moving parts. It was something to behold. It's just an honor to be a part of it at all. The FBI Supervisory Senior Resident Agent, FBI man, Andy Smith, in recognition and appreciation of your visionary and from the front leadership style during the 2016-2017 Monroe Criminal Enterprise and Violent Gangs investigation. The synchronized efforts of the FBI and MPD had and continues to have major effects on the criminal activity as well as quality of life of citizens in and around the city of Monroe. Your demonstrated leadership and devotion to duty are worthy of emulation by all. Cool. To Special Agent Jamie Hispus. Did I say that close to right?
That's good.
He answers first.
Yeah.
Jamie become a part of our family. Like I saw him more than I saw a lot of other folks. He was always there. He answered the phone call when I would say, I had another shoot tonight. What are we going to do about getting these indictments? So I'd call Andy and we'd talk about the U.S. Attorney's Office a little bit, talk about how great they were and how everything was going wonderful. And we'd work on that. And, but anyway, the FBI Special Agent Jamie Hispus. Is that better?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. In recognition and appreciation of your selfless service, devotion, and duty during the 2016-2017 Monroe Criminal Enterprise and Violent Gangs investigation. Your can-do, will-do work ethic and devotion to our community were at the core of the synchronization of the FBI and the MPD efforts, and resources that took dangerous drugs, weapons, and criminals off the street of Monroe. Your devotion to duty and work ethic are worthy of emulation by all. We really appreciate it, and you're part of us. Thank you,
Chief.
If I would, you're gonna get 2. You can take this one back to the office. This one's to the Athens office of the FBI. Those guys are, 2 of them's in D.C. right now. They're different places doing different things. The Athens office of the FBI, in recognition of your appreciation, tireless efforts and devotion to duty during the Monroe 2016-2017 FBI MPD criminal Monroe criminal enterprises and violent gangs investigation. Your work and devotion to duty were instrumental in the success of the largest law enforcement operation in the city of Monroe and Walton County history, by far. By far is not on there. I just said that. Your devotion to duty and work ethic are worthy of emulation by all, and we really appreciate that. That was there was at least 60 law enforcement people in the city of Monroe conducting these operations at one time. At least 60. I counted that many. Fit team, if y'all would come up here, Sam, Tracy, Aaron, Brandon. Sam's still undercover. He got his hat on. And this is to y'all as a team. Presented to the City of Monroe Police Department field investigative team in recognition and appreciation of your tireless efforts, devotion of duty during the 2016-2017 FBI MPD violent criminal enterprises and violent gangs investigation. Your work and devotion to duty were instrumental in the successful of the largest law enforcement operation in the city of Monroe and Walton County history. Your devotion to duty and work ethic are worthy of emulation by all. Y'all doing a great job. Proud to be a part of it.
Thank you for that.
We get plenty of pictures. RV, you want to get in a picture? Y'all got, all right.
I'm gonna say I always wind up going back to dope wherever I go. Some way or way to another, they wind up putting me back in dope. I'm in uniform now, but anyway, in my younger days, I've worked on task force, worked on the Eric Rudolph task force and all that stuff with federal agents. A lot of federal agents. I've never ever worked with a federal agent that has worked like Jamie Higgins. He's the if he's a poster boy for the cream of the crop of the FBI, that would be Jamie Higgins. No joke. He has far exceeded anything that any FBI agent I've ever worked with, DEA, Secret Service, or any of it.
Don't say that too loud, they're moving to DC.
Well, and Aaron and Brandon, these two, most of my job was to make sure the money was right, make sure the paperwork and stuff was right. I would say 99.8% of the work was done by Jamie, Aaron, and Brandon. And these two did an impeccable job. Brandon come from the dope history. She come from a background of undercover and stuff. And like I said, if it wasn't for these three, this wouldn't have got done. But I had the highest regard for Jamie as any law enforcement that I've met.
We do too. When I invited, Andy was talking about him coming, and I said, is it okay if I invite the Athens office? He said, well, Jamie was coming whether you invited him or not. I said back to him, I said, look, we love him. He's like one of us. And Andy is too, because he's been there for us. But y'all done I really can't put into words how grateful, and really how grateful the city of Monroe should be to this one event, because it has had a large impact. It's had an impact on crime being reduced from 2016 to 2017 by 22% in the city, along with the other things that our officers are doing every day in the street. So Andy, unless you got something else to say, what we're going to do is tell y'all goodbye until you go do great and wonderful things. And thank you so much for being here. It really meant a lot to me personally, and I knew it did to everybody that you got to talk to tonight. So with that, y'all go do what you do. What we want to talk about, 2016-2017 comparison, our citations over that year period went up 6.18%. Vehicle accidents went down 12.17%. While our accidents went down, our accidents with injury actually went up. They went from 48 in 2016 to 75 last year. And would ask y'all to have your thoughts and prayers with the family today from, we had a head-on collision today that was a fatality. A 21-year-old and her 1-year-old's in the hospital. A 70-plus-year-old female died. She had crossed the center line and struck other vehicles. So traffic accidents are tough. But that's that's the direction that we need to be going in. That's the quickest we ever done the accident stats, okay? Crime stats. You may not be able to see this. It's 2016 versus 2017. You see the blue, and in every incident, blues are higher than in 2017, which is the green. Our total drop in crime was 22%. The violent crimes in the city of Monroe went down from 122 in 16 to 109 in 17, which was a 10.66 drop or a 10% drop in violent crimes. Our property crimes were down from 835 in 16 to 636 in 17, which is a 25.03% drop. A lot of these crimes, what I attribute it to, and you know, the operation that we talked about, that had a major impact on violent crime and theft, because it's dealing with the narcotics world. The patrol officer being proactive, being in neighborhoods, being seen, being visible, and doing what they do every day attributes to it. So being proactive and doing the kind of work together with federal agencies has had a major impact on our crime rates. Same thing. And with that, we're going to get into the part we come here for, to recognize folks and what they've done for our community. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Chief Watson. He's going to get started, and I'll help him along.
Okay, firstly, we're going to recognize from our officers this evening is going to be the 5 Years of Service Award. The recipient of that's going to be Officer James Green.
You're going to have to get up and do them pictures, baby girl.
I know. Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Next award's going to go for 5 years of service going to Officer Eric Westbrook. 20 to go. Hey, 2 pieces of cake.
You get it, Lynn? Thank you. If you're ever in Monroe and you see a police car sitting outside and you hear a good voice coming from it, he's singing a good song, probably a gospel song, 99.99% of the time it's going to be Eric.
Okay, our next awards are going to be for 10 years of service. First recipient that's going to be Lynn Carroll.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill.
You know, it's wonderful to have a fire guy that can take pictures and handle bees and do all these other things.
Our second recipient for the 10 years service is going to go to Sergeant Sam Harrison. Third recipient of 10 years service is going to Sergeant Ben Goga. Sergeant Ben Goga is actually not here tonight. He is currently serving active duty in the Navy and is deployed overseas. Our next awards are going for our 15 years of service, and Chief Class is going to call those out.
First one goes to R.B. Watts. He's been with us 15 years. He had a nickname that I can't say in this setting. Probably he had a problem about cars, and but he was being where he ought to be at the right time. And there's just some tough things was happening, but we appreciate R.B. and he does a good job for us. Thank you. The next guy is Lieutenant Matt McClung. Very energetic. Can energize a bunny ever loses his job. We got a good guy for it. Matt was explaining something to me one day, and he was getting more and more excited, and he was talking fast, and I finally looked at him and said, Matt, you got to slow down. I can't comprehend as fast as you're talking. You got to talk like I talk. But Matt does a great job. He likes to advertise that he used to be in the Marine Corps. He's still a former Marine, but we appreciate him. He does a great job for us. And where's Polo?
All right, our next recipient is going to be 20 years of service. This individual has been through a lot here at Monroe PD. Has done an exceptional job since he's been here. I've seen him on good days and I've seen him on bad days, but one thing about it is he's consistent, he's hardworking, and he's loyal and dedicated to Monroe PD, and that's Brandon Temple.
Brandon is definitely in his calling right now, and he's done an excellent job with the FBI, Monroe PD. I got all kind of names for that operation, but he was very instrumental in that. We love and appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant McClung. He does our training, does our firearms training. He's going to be presenting the Top Gun Award.
Normally every year we're able to give out multiple training awards, but because of some manpower issues we had to cancel a lot of our in-service training last year. But everybody did have to qualify because Post makes sure of that, so we did have a Top Gun last year. And our Top Gun recipient, it's the first time ever this individual had a Top Gun in the city of Monroe, and that's also Detective Brandon Temples. Brandon shot at 295. A 295 only dropping one round out of the A-ring into the B-ring this year. So, congratulations.
And let him hold that.
Yeah. Sorry.
And Brandon has never been in the Marine Corps.
But he was taught by a Marine and a Ranger, so.
Never been in the Marine Corps.
But he was taught by a Marine. Brandon was my first supervisor when I came to work here too, so. You got the rest of it?
Okay, our next award is the Administrative Employee of the Year Award. The recipient of this is has already been recognized earlier for 15 years of service. I can't say enough about this individual. He commands our training program, and I think a lot of what the chief was talking about earlier, you know, with the 20% reduction in our criminal activity. A lot of it goes to the FBI roundup that we did, but it also has a lot to do with the caliber of officers that we're putting out now and the training they're receiving. This individual is truly dedicated to that. We've seen a passion in him early on going this career path, and he's taken it a whole, as aggressively as you can. I mean, he really has. He's done a great job with it. Partly, I think most of that's because he is a United States Marine. But this award goes to Lieutenant Matt McClung.
What Ricky was saying is exactly right. With we got to work together as a team. It doesn't matter what you do here; it's got to come together as a team. From the admin, from Trudy, from anybody that works here. Trudy's our attack officer that does our GCIC and all that. Lynn handles court. None of this could be. Police is not going to be successful if you don't work as a team. Not one person is more important than another person here. My officers, I say my officers, but uniform patrol officers, each one of them is just as important as I am. I look at them as more important because all I do is just manage what needs to be managed. They're out there on the streets every day doing what they need to do. Us older guys, me and Ricky and RV and the chief, younger, we did it.
Leave me out of that older one, though.
Yeah, he's not far behind me. So, but some people stand out. And I want to call up Officer Jimmy Choi. Is he here? Troy here today?
Joy here, he's working shift.
He might be on a call because he's. They did. All right. One thing I want to say about Officer Jimmy Choi is, some people stand out a little bit more. We've worked short. A lot of people has known that. We've had to call officers to fill in. A lot of our officers volunteer. I have not once since I've took over running uniform patrol, called Jimmy Choi, and he say, "Nope, I can't come in." He'll either tell me I'll be in and work 2 hours till you can get somebody else, but he always shows up. He's running the shift right now as a OIC on the night shift rotation. I see potential leadership in a lot of people. His leadership stands out a little bit more than some of them. I wished he was here.
He'll be back in a minute. We recognize him when he comes in.
Okay. But anyway, that goes to Jimmy Choi for Uniform Patrol Employee of the Year. I'm going to leave this right here, Chief.
Yeah.
Okay. For when he does come in.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. Next, we're going to recognize the MPD Employee of the Year. Just to say a few things about this officer. I remember vividly when this officer first came to work here. He was coming from Gwinnett County. Wasn't here long. He probably could have earned that same title as what Chief said I was 15 years ago. And I remember talking to him. I said, "Look, it's going to be different than working in the correctional facility and the jail and stuff." I said, "You're going to get in all kind of stuff out here." And it was no time he was in car chases and wrecking cars and locking up people. And since then, he's actually progressed and made it to the rank of sergeant when he was on uniform patrol and was running our night shift, and done a great job there. And as he was doing that, running night shift, he was also, his background, what he really loves is doing computer work, IT stuff. So he would run a shift at night, and we'd have issues going on during the day, and he would come in on his days off, or even on the days he had to work that following night, and would come in and work on anything we had going on with the computers and stuff like that. So this recent year, when we did our budget, we actually slotted a position for an IT guy. And I can't say enough about this individual, even today, as he was getting everything prepared for this presentation tonight. I mean, making last minute changes up to right before we step foot into this building. And that's a lot of stress it puts on him. But he's a great officer, great guy. Can't say enough about him, but the MPD Employee of the Year goes to Sergeant James Green.
stay up here just 1 minute. I had to, again, use my multi-talented fire guy, and I left a little something in the vehicle. He's going to get it. He'll be right back. It's amazing, and I think about when Emily and I were policing here and the equipment we had and things that we had, and you know, we've involved to where we need a IT person all the time, you know, whether it's tag reader issues, our records management system, it's just something, you know, all the time. Whether it's a, you know, a camera, body worn camera, we always got that, and we need that, we need that, and we're proud to have been able to do that, proud that Logan let me have his ear and we talked to him, and he got a few. And we were able to put that in place this year, and that was an important thing. We thank the mayor and council and Mr. Acock and whoever else is still here from the council. But we appreciate that, and that's the kind of support we got to have to do what we do and to continue to improve what we do. This is a this is a donation from a businessman here in Monroe. He donates a certain amount of money, and we split it between fire and police. And his name is in here. He doesn't want to be brought out in public, doesn't want his name there, but his name and phone number's in there, and it would behoove you to call him and say thank you, because I thank him all the time. It's great what he does for us. But that's also a nice little gift. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
This is 14 years, 13, 14. The reason we do this is to honor our men and women that work for the Monroe Police Department. It's also to always remember and keep close to our heart Michael Etchison, who was killed in the line of duty serving this very community. Back in 1977, that wasn't a common occurrence or it wasn't as common, you know, as it is today. We've had 6 or 7 officers killed in the last 7 or 8 days. Over in Henry County, the young officer died. 2 days later, his wife was having another child. What men and women in public safety, fire and police do every day for the community, working a fatality wreck, the fire and the police there. Those scenes don't leave you. They may not haunt you, but they never leave you. They're always with you. You run them like a movie in your head. They're always there. They're not going to go away. May not keep you awake at night. May not make you an alcoholic. May not make you get on pills. May not, but it's going to always be there. It's going to always be there. So tonight, I'm going to ask Chief Watts to read the citation for the recipient, and I'd like the Michael Etchison family to come up here, as y'all do every year, and help us present this thing.
I'd also like to ask Chief Oliver from Social Circle if he would come forward as well. On 18 March 2017, City of Social Circle Police Officer Robert Orr was not on duty and was simply passing through our jurisdiction when he witnessed a citizen being attacked by large dogs. Officer Orr placed his safety at risk as he took immediate action and stopped the vicious attack on Mr. Tommy Lee Bird. The attack resulted in Mr. Bird's hospitalization for an extended period of time. Had Officer Orr not ended this vicious attack by shooting the dogs, the two dogs could have very well caused the death of Mr. Bird. Officer Orr's actions demonstrated the highest level of professional courage and selfless service by a Georgia law enforcement professional. Officer Orr's actions, courage, and devotion to serving others are worthy of emulation by all. Please help me in congratulating Officer Orr.
Okay.
I'd like to thank the police department and thank you, Mr. Orr, for your bravery. And thank y'all all of what y'all do. I mean, so many times y'all get a bad rap, but not to me. We back to blue. Thank you.
I just want to thank the city of Monroe for this award here. I want to thank the Extras and Family for the award also. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.